Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, the Nootropic Reviewer, and during this video I'm going to share with you how I am using ashwagandha and some various scenarios in which you may want to adjust your ashwagandha protocol. Ashwagandha is the king of herbs. It is one of the best supplements around decreasing levels of stress, better handling anxiety. Like you can see in this chart over here, what they've done is they've ranked a variety of supplements in just how they can help you better handle stress. And as we can see here on examine.com, where they've nicely compiled the number of studies done on ashwagandha, we can see decreases anxiety, of course, improves testosterone, decreases cortisol levels, increases power output, and the list goes on and on. Believe that this is a more complex supplement herb than you may think. A lot of people start taking ashwagandha without understanding what the pros are, what the bad things are, and the side effects, and don't really have any sort of goal that's related to why they're taking ashwagandha, because there are different versions of ashwagandha you can take. There is, of course, the ashwagandha root, and now what's more popular is taking a specific ashwagandha extract. And when you use these extracts, you're able to take a smaller dose of ashwagandha and get even more of a benefit because they are richer in withanolides as well as some of the properties of ashwagandha that are going to be responsible for getting the benefit. So my absolute favorite would be the KSM 66, and the reason why I like the KSM 66 form of ashwagandha, and we'll get into the dosages at the later portion of the video, is the fact that with KSM 66, it allows you to be energetic, to be productive, to stay on track with whatever your schedule is, while at the same time decreasing stress levels. Whereas some other forms of ashwagandha that are a bit richer in this one property called withanolides, they can somewhat demotivate you. They can relax you. A perfect example of that is this form of ashwagandha called Shoden. And so how I like taking Shoden is taking it before bed, because it nicely calms you, it mellows you, it allows you to get your head out of whatever mess you had during the day. So the way that I used to take ashwagandha was a fashion in which I took it once at 2 o'clock p.m. and once at 6 o'clock p.m. And the specific form that I used was the KSM 66 extract of ashwagandha at a dosage of 300 milligrams. So 300 milligrams twice a day. Although this was like my style of taking it, specifically because when I used ashwagandha in the morning, especially before workouts, I noticed it would tire me out a little bit. So with ashwagandha, like my theory was, okay, I will use this to de-stress, but I don't want to use it if it means sacrificing my productivity. And so I found that really good and it worked for me. But what I've done now is I've actually adjusted it, because that phenomena of ashwagandha demotivating you, that's a real thing. And a lot of people just don't acknowledge it. And then they come across one of my videos and they say, Michael, now I realize why I've been so unproductive. Yes, ashwagandha has pros. It's critically important that you are as objective as possible if your goal is productivity. For me, I sell real estate. It's 100% commission based. So I take a nootropic and I actually track, okay, I'm using this for the next 90 days. Let's see my numbers. How many outbound calls have I made? How many hours have I spent working? And so for me, it was pretty easy to tell that ashwagandha was kind of compromising my productivity. But then it becomes important to find some sort of alternative. And so what I really found helpful was using either rhodiola rosea, bacopa mineri, or lion's mane to really better help me handle stress. But if you look at the comparison of these several nootropics, there's no arguing that they individually are not better than ashwagandha, or some of them don't even come close. Like rhodiola rosea versus ashwagandha, ashwagandha definitely wins with respect to calmness, anti-anxiety. But if we were to use rhodiola rosea along with bacopa, then without question, I think it makes it superior, not only long-term, but short-term as well. You can really feel those nootropics working. So the way that I'm now using ashwagandha, I am taking it twice a day, but the form of ashwagandha that I am using is different, plus I'm taking it a little bit later. So my rationale was I want to get the ashwagandha benefits, but I would much rather push all my servings of ashwagandha to the later portion of the day so that I can see the results with ashwagandha, because the results really do happen in a cumulative fashion, that which you take ashwagandha on a day-by-day basis and then you start to really see the results after a couple of weeks. So it's somewhat saturated in your system, and this is something great in which you can use it every evening. And then what's so is after a couple of weeks, you are noticing the benefits throughout the whole course of the day, because it's very interesting with ashwagandha. Yes, the results happen long term, but there is a little bit of a short term kind of result that you do feel. And this is going to be dependent on the individual. And unfortunately, that's nootropics. Some of them are just more effective for other people. I'm somebody that's very sensitive to nootropics. So when I use something like 300 milligrams of ashwagandha, I can really feel it, even if I were to take it alongside with caffeine. So my dosage protocol right now looks like taking a 300 milligrams of the KSM 66 form around 6 o'clock p.m. and then right before I sleep, so let's say 9 o'clock p.m., I'm taking the form called Shoden, and Shoden is really designed for relaxation. And this great study over here clearly showed that ingesting Shoden, just one capsule per day, resulted in having better sleep quality and less sleep disturbances, like waking up in the middle of the night. So ashwagandha it's really important that you understand these negative side effects. And if you are aware of them and you feel them, the great news is that you don't need to kind of like omit ashwagandha, because I do believe ashwagandha does have good properties, not only with respect to how it affects you as a nootropic, but also for general health. So a great idea that many of you can consider doing is use it along with a nootropic that would cause you to be more productive and more motivated. And a couple of my favorites would be Noopept or would be L-tyrosine. With Noopept, it's very potent. It's supposedly 100 times more potent than paracetam. And what that is known for is for helping you with your ambition, helping you with your focus. It's not so stimulating, so it's very subtle, but trust that when you're ingesting Noopept, it will keep you focused on those really high priority tasks that you absolutely need to get done. And if you're looking for something a little bit stronger than Noopept, then something you can consider taking is L-tyrosine. And tyrosine is an amino acid that's found in chicken breast. It's also found in egg whites, but where you can really feel it is if you take it in supplemental form. So you're not ingesting it through chicken breast, because what happens is when you take L-tyrosine without other amino acids, you can actually feel it and you can get the intended benefit. In this case, it would be at a dosage of 750 milligrams to 1000 milligrams. You will be able to be very productive for a good like 90-minute stretch. And it does cause a little bit of anxiety, but the good news is ashwagandha decreases anxiety levels, so they do both nicely go together. So outside of that, I would look into the different forms of ashwagandha. Like this form, Shoden, this is like a bazooka. It's so strong, nobody takes the form of Shoden twice a day. That's just too much. And the withanolides content is 35%, which in layman's terms means it's going to relax you more than other forms of ashwagandha. So depending on what period you are in your life, what your goals are, what's going on for you the next 90 days, that's how I would be a bit strategic with the intake of my ashwagandha. Like, let's say if something really bad has happened in your life, something tragic, maybe you're in a lawsuit and you need to de-stress, that's like a specific scenario in which more ashwagandha would be better, as well as using some of the more potent forms of ashwagandha. So you probably won't notice the right results using the ashwagandha root, because that's the least effective. When you look up ashwagandha and you look at the way people are taking it, it's confusing because everybody seems to be taking it like a different way. And I think the reason for that is because with ashwagandha, some people do notice the results very quickly within the first couple of hours, and depending on how they feel, that's how their dosing is. So for instance, if they're getting a bit tired from taking ashwagandha, then they're taking one of those servings before bed. Like you'll start to see ashwagandha in a lot of sleep products out there. For example, like Neurohacker Collective, for instance, rolled out this great product called Quality at Night. We can see here they have KSM 66 ashwagandha at 150 milligrams, whereas a lot of people do get like an energetic benefit when they use ashwagandha. So for those individuals, they may want to take their ashwagandha once pre-workout. Like some people swear by ashwagandha and building testosterone levels. I don't really think it's all that effective for testosterone levels. I've talked about some of my favorite nootropics around building testosterone levels in this video over here. You'll likely find that informative. So you really have to like try ashwagandha with different dosing protocols depending on whatever work you're doing. You need to learn from your own trial and error, because this is a nootropic that I used to think very differently of. It would not go in my top 10 nootropics. It still wouldn't go in my top 10 nootropics, because I honestly feel there are so many superior nootropics out there. I think most people who are using ashwagandha just haven't been exposed to some of the other nootropics that can really help them with stress management and productivity. But what I love about ashwagandha is that the side effects are very minimal for me anyway, outside of the ones that I mentioned, and long-term it looks like a safe nootropic, not only for cognition, but also just long-term health and normal thyroid function, being in a great mood, and optimizing your hormones and your hormone function. If you did get value from this video, then consider subscribing. And if you are a returning viewer, I'm waiting to see your comment. How do you like taking your ashwagandha? Otherwise, be sure to drop a like and join us on our Discord, where we have a 24/7 chat room. We're sharing a lot of information, and of course, we're answering people in a very time-sensitive fashion. And you can reach me there, or feel free to send me a direct message on Instagram, or better yet, Patreon. I thank you for your interest in nootropics, and I will look forward to seeing you all next time.